The world is transfixed by breaking news from Taipei. China launches its largest ever military exercise, Joint Sword 2026. Satellite images reveal a massive Chinese fleet slicing through the Taiwan Strait, dozens of warships, amphibious assault ships, and aircraft moving with chilling precision. This is no ordinary drill. The scale and intent are clear. It looks like a dress rehearsal for invasion. On China's Fujian coast, thousands of PLA soldiers and armored vehicles mass at ports, ready for action. Overhead, J-20 stealth fighters and H-6 bombers simulate attack runs, pushing ever closer to Taiwan's airspace. The message, overwhelming force, meant to intimidate and warn. In Taiwan, tension is palpable. Air raid sirens wail in Taipei and Kaohsiung, while military convoys rush to coastal defenses. The public, long used to threats, now watches the news with growing anxiety, aware that their way of life hangs in the balance. For military planners in Taipei and Washington, this is the nightmare scenario, years of Chinese military buildup culminating in a direct threat. The exercise mirrors every element of a real invasion plan: ships, aircraft, troops, and logistics on a staggering scale. The world is no longer asking if, but when, the dragon will strike. Every move is scrutinized, every signal analyzed. Taiwan's sovereignty faces its gravest test yet. The Pentagon and allies brace for the possibility of war in the Pacific. The stakes, not just Taiwan's future, but the balance of power in Asia. The world holds its breath, waiting to see if this is the moment history changes. The shadow of conflict looms larger than ever. The countdown to a possible invasion has begun. The world watches, uncertain and afraid. An invasion of Taiwan would be impossible to hide. Months before the first shot, intelligence agencies would spot the telltale signs: massive troop movements, naval buildup, and logistical chaos. Satellite imagery would reveal hundreds of thousands of PLA soldiers shifting toward the coast, a logistical footprint visible from space. China would concentrate warships, amphibious vessels, and commandeered civilian ferries in ports opposite Taiwan. Ship tracking data would show abnormal clusters of vessels, disrupting commercial shipping and sending shockwaves through global trade. Warehouses near the coast would overflow with fuel, ammunition, and supplies, stockpiles needed for a prolonged assault. Medical units would mobilize, field hospitals and blood banks prepared for mass casualties. The scale of mobilization would be unmistakable. Military experts estimate China could amass several 100,000 to over 1 million troops, requiring hundreds of ships to cross the 100-mile strait. Taiwan's defense is built on this reality. They will see the invasion coming. Early warning is their greatest advantage, giving them time to mobilize, prepare defenses, and alert allies. The world would watch as the slow, telegraphed punch of invasion unfolds. Taiwan's military would brace for impact, knowing the window to act is short. The buildup would trigger global alarm and diplomatic crisis. The invasion would not be a surprise attack, but a visible, looming threat. Every move would be tracked, every signal analyzed. The countdown to conflict would be measured in days, not hours. Taiwan's defense doctrine is now proactive: strike before the enemy reaches the beaches. The plan: disrupt and degrade the invasion force during assembly and transit, making the strait a deadly gauntlet. Taiwan would deploy sea mines in the strait and near Chinese ports, aiming to sink or delay landing craft before they even depart. Special forces could covertly mine harbor entrances, sowing chaos and fear among the invasion fleet. Long-range missiles like the Xiongfeng de Sapri and Yunfeng would target ports, airfields, and command centers deep inside China. Destroying ships in port buys precious time and complicates PLA plans. This initial phase is Taiwan's best chance to even the odds. By combining mines, missiles, and special operations, Taiwan aims to inflict heavy losses before the enemy even sets sail. The goal: bottleneck the invasion, damage morale, and force China to reconsider. The fight for Taiwan would begin far from its shores. Asymmetric tactics are key to survival. The invasion would open with a massive Chinese missile barrage, thousands of ballistic and cruise missiles targeting Taiwan's airfields, naval bases, and command centers. The goal: blind and paralyze Taiwan's military, trapping aircraft on the ground and destroying radar sites. Taiwan's multi-layered air defense, Skybow, Patriot missiles, and mobile launchers would scramble to intercept the onslaught. Underground hangars and hardened command centers would help absorb the first blow. Redundant systems ensure leadership can still direct the fight, even if primary sites are hit. The aims survive the initial barrage with core capabilities intact. Some missiles will get through, causing devastation and panic. Air defense crews would race against time, knowing every intercepted missile could save a critical asset. The psychological impact would be immense, but resilience is built into Taiwan's defense. The first hours would be chaos, explosions, fire, and uncertainty. Taiwan's survival depends on weathering this storm. The battle would only intensify from here. After the missile strikes, the naval battle for the Taiwan Strait erupts. China's navy, the world's largest, escorts a vast armada of landing ships. Taiwan's smaller fleet can't win a traditional battle, so its strategy is to target vulnerable transports, not warships. Land-based and sea-launched anti-ship missiles, Xiongfeng 2 and the 3, form the backbone of this defense. Mobile launchers and fast missile boats strike from hidden positions, aiming to sink troop carriers and ferries. Submarines hunt high-value targets, seeking to thin the invasion force before it reaches shore. The goal: attrition. Every ship sunk means fewer PLA troops land. The Navy's role is to buy time and reduce the size of the landing force, even at great cost. The strait becomes a kill zone, filled with burning ships and chaos. Success is measured by the number of transports destroyed, not by control of the sea. The fate of the beaches depends on this desperate fight. As Chinese landing craft near Taiwan's coast, they enter the littoral zone, a deadly gauntlet of layered defenses. Sea mines tailored for shallow water target landing craft at the few suitable beaches. Minesweepers slow the advance, making vessels easy targets for artillery. Drones and attack helicopters, swarms of explosive drones and relentless artillery barrages rain down on the invaders. Apache helicopters strike from hidden positions, adding to the chaos. The objective: disorganize, destroy, and demoralize the attackers before they reach land. The littoral zone becomes a multi-domain kill zone. Mines, drones, shells, and missiles from every direction. Few are expected to survive this hellish approach. Taiwan's hope: break the invasion before it reaches the sand. For those Chinese troops who survived the crossing, the beaches are a final, brutal test. Taiwan's last line of defense is a fortress. Barbed wire, dragon's teeth, mines, and sunken obstacles funnel attackers into kill zones. Dug-in tanks and anti-tank teams unleash devastating fire as soon as landing ramps drop. Machine gun nests and overlapping fields of fire cut down exposed infantry. The defenders have trained for this moment, determined to annihilate the attackers before they can establish a foothold. If the PLA breaks off the beach, the fight becomes much harder for Taiwan. The battle for the beach is a desperate, close-quarters struggle. Every meter of sand is contested with ferocious intensity. The defenders know they are fighting for their homeland. The red beaches will be stained with the cost of invasion. If any PLA forces break through the beaches, the battle shifts inland. Taiwan's strategy: defense in depth. Fall back to pre-planned positions. Use the island's terrain to ambush and contain the enemy. Urban warfare drills and civilian preparedness turn every city and village into a potential stronghold. Bridges, tunnels, and highways become demolition targets to slow the advance. Armored brigades and mechanized infantry counterattack, aiming to eliminate beachheads before more PLA reinforcements arrive. The fight becomes a war of attrition, with every choke point fiercely contested. The entire island becomes a hostile environment for the invader. The survival of Taiwan depends on containing the breach and pushing the enemy back to the sea. The heartland becomes the final battleground. Taiwan's survival hinges on early warning-layered defenses and national resolve. The logistics of invasion are too massive to hide, giving Taiwan time to mobilize and prepare. Each defensive layer, mines, missiles, kill zones, aims to whittle down the PLA before it can gain a foothold. If enough ships are sunk and enough troops stopped, the defenders can hold the line. The PLA faces a well-armed, motivated defender on home turf. The cost for China would be staggering, with no guarantee of victory. By fighting at every stage and making invasion intolerably costly, Taiwan has a real chance to defend its democracy. The island's will to remain free may prove its greatest weapon.